Okay, then the next thing we did this spring was repot my Forsythia on a rock. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this guy because I just made a video about how I summer prune these guys. So if you want to see more about that tree, you can go back and watch the repotting video, and you can go back not too long ago to watch the summer pruning video. But basically, that's new growth, new growth, new growth. Ironically, not really where I want it, but that's all right. We don't care. So then after that, we did our juniper forest project. Let me get that guy out of here. Well, it's going to be a little hard to see because it really filled in, but every one of the little trees not only survived the disaster we had, where the wind blew the tent into the whole forest immediately after I potted it, but it did very well. I'll show you them now. So there's this little tiny guy, and he did well. And there's this little tiny guy, and he did well. Both of them doubled in size, maybe. And then around the front, or what I'm calling the front, everybody did pretty well. I think this was where I topped it after I potted it, and it's put on all that growth. So 8 inches. These are tough little trees. I think the goal for next year is to really get this thing in shape. I'm going to remove a lot of the lower branches on the main tree to expose that trunk more. Maybe do some ginning down there so that you can really see through the forest and toward those other smaller trees. And then we're going to have to thin out a lot of the branching on it too, because there's just too much branching. Yeah, that should be really fun. I'm so glad that they're all healthy. We'll prune it up next year. And then there's this gifted / collected yew that I got from somebody on the internets. I'll pull him out so you can see him better. Yeah, so if you remember, this is a little yew that I hacked back to what I was hoping would be just the main trunk line here. Sort of an experiment to see how much these guys can take. And I really did the same thing with the roots, so there was not a lot of roots down in there. Immediately after I did all that work to it, after working to get rid of all the scale, because this thing was carved in scale. I'd never seen anything like it. Immediately after I potted it though, the ends of the branches, all the terminal sort of leaves drooped and wilted. And they've kind of been like that ever since. They've never really perked up. And I think what that clearly means is that there's still just not enough roots to support all the branching and all the needles. That said, you know, if you look around, there is hints of new growth here and there. So yeah, we'll see. I'm not super optimistic about what happens to this guy. It's like Sid Pavey said to me one time, "Tough as nails, you saw." Hope he's right. And so the next thing we did was check on those cuttings. So here they are. I've been opening the bag up more and more to sort of try to get them acclimated to more normal humidity levels, because I think they're just starting to rot in here, really. Basically, the Dawn Redwoods are still looking the best out of everything. Unfortunately, the 9 barks, not doing great. There's definitely a few that are still alive, and you can see the new growth that the ones that lived pushed. They pushed this entirely new branching out. Impressive. So hopefully, you know, I get 4 or 5 of those, and I'll have like a whole bunch of Dawn Redwood cuttings, maybe to even share. If you'd like some, let me know. I'll put you on a list. And then there was the guy that I transplanted out of the cutting box. And as you can see, he hasn't done too bad. Definitely some browning on a lot of his leaves, but definitely not dead. No signs of new growth, but not dead. He's basically been sitting in water. I don't think it ever dries out, and it hasn't seemed to kill him, which is good. I think what I'm going to do is leave them leave all these guys in here over the winter, cover it back up, and start transplanting them out in the spring if they start showing signs that they're alive. And then we did our Forsythia summer pruning. I'm not going to dwell too much on that because not too much has happened, but if we just pick this little guy as an example, they predictably went crazy and shot out new growth everywhere. You can see the lighter colored stuff. So they're all going to go for a repot in the spring. I'll prune them back at that point and let them go at it. The last thing that we did was this air layer removal. And it's only been a couple weeks since I pulled this off, but here's the update on that. It's still alive. It's sitting in standing water. It's another Chan technique. It's in 100% pure sphagnum moss. It's showing some signs of stress. It's lost a bunch of leaves. It's got some browning at the tips. But I don't remember seeing these little buds everywhere. You can see at the base of the little branches, new buds. Here's one right here. I don't remember seeing those when I pulled it off. All of the branches have that, so. Some new life. Which I guess is a good sign. I don't know. Again, it's just a matter of getting this guy through the winter. We'll have a sick bonsai one day. Maybe even 2 bonsai, if I ever get around to separating them. I'm going to regret not doing that now, I'll tell you that.